day one. You really want to get a really positive result and try and carry that momentum through to that trophy.
Yeah, plus it's the North American pride he's got. You know, we look at last year, 2015, Hot Form was from Canada as well. He made it all the way to the Blizzcon finals. So Cydonia potentially be able to step that up and bring home a championship to Canada. That would just be such an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, they've really been so close so many times. They've been, you know, the America's champion before in 2015 with Purple, and as you said, the finals, the grand finals before with Hot Form, but they just haven't been able to grasp the trophy yet.
So we're getting into game number one. It is a Warrior mirror match, but not quite mirrored in cards. These are two very different builds these guys have brought, where Che0nsu's playing the Dragon Warrior build, really wants to get on the ground running and try to punish any stumbles from the opponent.
Typically speaking, the Dragon Warrior can struggle against the Control Warrior just because the Control Warrior has so much armor gain, it has so much removal, but the really big piece, the key to this whole matchup a lot of times is being able to remove the initial threats, and the best way to do that is with the Fiery Wax, and Cydonia doesn't have it yet, so he could be off to a little bit of a rocky start, and a lot of times the Dragon Warrior can punish some late stabilization with their top-end threats of Ragnaros and Gromash.
Yeah, strong finishers from this deck. I mean, that's kind of the game plan from the get-go, is just have a strong turn every turn.
The best minion on stat every turn. What could go wrong?
It is not a subtle game plan by any means. It is play a minion and start attacking. And you know, that can lead to some consistency issues as well. You know, looking at Che0nsu's hand right now, this Alexstrasza's champion is not active. This is a problem. This is where he needs to get this 3/3 charge and start delivering damage.
Now, is it even worth it to play it then, since it's not active? A lot of times you could honestly just consider maybe the Frothing Berserker here. You have to kind of give up your coin, but it's a lot more durable of a minion, and you're guaranteeing, or at least hoping, that you can activate the Alexstrasza's champion a little bit later on down the line.
And these are the exact situations that I wanted to see Che0nsu in. Not necessarily that I want to see him have some tough spots, but his technical play has been so good that in spots like this, he's going to figure out why he's doing the play he's doing. It's not a matter of just playing the card that's in the hand that's the best. He's trying to craft the game plan given the situation.
All right. And he's going with the War Axe there, trying to craft a game plan of maybe being able to develop the Frothing Berserker and remove an opponent's minion. Try and get that buff and...
thinking of Acolyte of Pain ahead of time.
Sure.
Drop Alexstrasza's champion and Acolyte of Pain. Suddenly that Frothing Berserker may not come down. Unlock that 3 damage later on. One turn off. One turn off.
Is it worth playing off curve like that? You could develop 2 minions this turn, which helps you play around Warrior's removal. Weapons can only remove 1 thing a turn, so Che0nsu could potentially, you know, play the Alexstrasza's champion and Blood to Ichor his own Alexstrasza's champion to have a more resilient board by going a little bit wider on it, devaluing the Fiery Wax from Cydonia.
Now, Blood to Ichor is not a very strong card in this matchup.
And you have 2 of them in your hand already.
Right.
1 for the execute, and then 1 for just making a 2/2. So I kind of like it, and I think the Frothing is a little bit more susceptible to the removal from Cydonia, but at the same time, if it isn't removed, it's a lot stronger of a minion presence because it threatens to grow.
Yeah, this still would stay alive through any weapons available.
Sure.
Cydonia at this point, really the only thing this dies to is either an execute play, a double slam,
Shield
like,
slam.
Yeah, shields, something in that vein. I mean, there's not like a Blood to Ichor bash that he's got to worry about this turn. Like a revenge play, maybe. There's some very off-the-wall things that Cydonia could have, but overall, the Frothing Berserker is just kind of an annoying threat to Cydonia.
Definitely is. You know, you always hate having to leave that Frothing Berserker up, so I think it's might actually warrant a shield slam, and you think it's crazy having to shield slam a 3-drop, but that's just the power that Frothing Berserker has. If you leave that guy on the board, you open up the ability for Che0nsu just to play reactively to your minion development while buffing the minion that he has on board.
It's weird to say, but it is a large piece of the Dragon Warrior's pressure, the fact that this card can be a win condition at 3 mana.
And Cydonia is going to take a risk developing into it. He wants to get more value out of his shield slam. He doesn't want to have to kill a 3-drop. And that's reasonable. Shield Slam's a card that's oftentimes worth a lot more than that, but Che0nsu can really punish this. This is exactly what he wanted to have happen.
Yeah, not only with the Alexstrasza's champion being able to trade over the body left behind from this Infested Tauren over the front half of it, but now the option for the Blackwing Corruptor as well. I mean, this is a great opener for Che0nsu. Just 2 cards completely changing the context of his hand.
He's going to be able to push through 4 face damage here. Not enough to, deactivate the Shield Slam from Cydonia, but enough to definitely turn up the heat a little bit, be kind of annoying.
Cydonia, that draw is, that is definitely a tech choice meant for very troublesome minions that your opponent invests a lot of the game into. Thinking like a Stealth Gadgetzan Auctioneer,
sure,
or handling a Sylvanas in a pinch spot. It's not very good at handling 3-mana 4/4s.
No, oftentimes not. Sometimes turns them into squirrels and it's great, but that's not why you put that tech card in your deck.
This is a tough spot for Cydonia. His options are very limited.
Yeah, I really favor the Shield Slam, and the reason why I like the Shield Slam in this situation is because he doesn't have any armor gain in his hand currently, and he's already used one of his 2 shield blocks in his deck, which makes it less likely for him to find armor gain in the upcoming turns. So just being able to guarantee that you're going to get some value out of it, I think is very strong.
It's definitely where he's headed with this.
The other option, you could potentially try and bait a Brawl. Hope Che0nsu extends a little bit more into the field, and then you can get a Brawl off. But when they extend with a Frothing Berserker, they do a lot of damage.
Yes, and not only that, but like as you mentioned, there's no armor gain in his hand. So if he foregoes the Shield Slam right now, he may be foregoing some Brawl value, but he'd be taking more damage. He'd be risking stranding the Shield Slam in his hand. I think being in the line of looking to maybe Sylvanas into a Brawl in the next couple of turns and try to conserve some of that life, much stronger.
Yeah. And Che0nsu has great minions for turn 6 and 7, but nothing really too solid going on here. He still has the ability to Ichor one of his own minions to play just a 1-mana 2/2, which is always kind of, it's okay in these aggressive decks, but oftentimes not the best and most ideal case for the card.
Yeah, and at this point too, Che0nsu's got to start constructing what he feels like Cydonia's hand is at this point. He's seen very little action. It's been Infest and Tauren, Shield Block, and Shield Slam.
Yeah, so there's heavy things in the hand. You can start making a read on potentially more of the top-end cards in the Cydonia Warrior decks, like Grom, Gorehowl, Sylvanas, Rag, Karen. All of these random top-end cards are something you got to think about, and they're starting to be able to be unlocked at this moment.
This is another big turn for Cydonia.
What now?
I mean, I imagine it's got to be the Sylvanas.
Yeah, I like the Sylvanas here a lot. It threatens to take a minion, and it also threatens just the Brawl afterwards. If you're able to just Sylvanas and Brawl, you're just guaranteed to steal a minion and swing the tempo in your favor, and that's absolutely huge.
Yeah, this is one of those plays where, sure, he is just giving Che0nsu the ability to push 8 damage here. He's not affecting the board state immediately, but the tension that Sylvanas builds on this board, it's scary for Che0nsu. If he leaves it up, it's disaster. And this is the kind of play that Sylvanas can force this spot. Trading in the 3/3 prior to the 5-power minion so there's no steal is a huge tempo swing for Cydonia here.
Yeah, he had to sink so many resources into that Sylvanas just so he could play around that potential Brawl or the other blowouts that can happen with Sylvanas.
Yeah, but now the Gorehowl over to Cydonia, just a couple turns here. Looking like this is swinging back in his favor.
Oh yeah, Gorehowl is huge here. Just being able to remove your opponent's entire turn and still have development on the board. Although you don't have a minion in play, that Gorehowl is significant development. That threatens to remove the next minion Che0nsu plays, and you're able to invest your life into board control very easily.
Yeah, Cydonia looking for that long game plan. Che0nsu's looking to end the game. These 3 cards on the left side with the 2 Blood to Ichors and the Execute, these have been dead for almost the entire game. The Curator going to give him a lot of gas needed to start to make this final push.
Yeah, Cydonia is also taking a lot of damage from this Gorehowl to secure up this board, and Che0nsu is starting to accumulate some potential damage in hand. He has the Kor'kron Elite, he has the Blood to Ichor, which can activate Grom later on, and he has the Finley, which could potentially get him the Hunter hero power.
So, a lot of stuff. It could help him dig into the build with life tech. Finley's just a strong card in this deck. Dragon Warrior doesn't need that armor most of the time. Looking for anything else to get an edge elsewhere, because most of its cards just get expended very aggressively.
You see the Ragnaros come out onto the field, and Che0nsu has been holding a lot of cards on the left side of his hand, so there's fairly likely to be an Execute in there.
Yeah, for Cydonia, this is more just a matter of he needs to do something to try to get Che0nsu to force mana.
Cydonia really doesn't have any other minions he can, develop. The other option is like playing 2 ghouls there, which is super awkward, or trying to go for the Tink Master to make a 5/5, which is not a solid plan. So he's kind of just pigeonholed into playing the Ragnaros based on, the resources that he has. And that opens up, honestly, a swing turn for Che0nsu, where he can spend 3 mana to remove the Ragnaros and create a 2/2.
And plus he has the extra mana to develop afterwards.
Yeah, 5 mana to just develop however he pleases behind that. And looks like he pleases to develop with Vinland.
Not strong options, though.
Fire Blast is at least 1 damage to the face and is very flexible with your Grom, so you can extend both Blood to Ichors at some point and still have an activator for Grom. And is also just you always have an execute activator, so you get to use your cards very aggressively, which is a really strong point.
Exactly what he's doing with his Fiery Oryx right now. Sending 3 damage, activating that Draconid Crusher now that Cydonia is below 15 health. And this is where the pressure can really get crazy. Honestly, I love this play from Che0nsu, because if he had killed this Ragnaros, the read from Che0nsu is that Brawl is in Cydonia's hand. If he kills this Ragnaros, it's a snap Brawl for Cydonia. Now, Cydonia looks at this board. Does he even want to Brawl?
Yeah, that is a really good read there. We said earlier, Che0nsu, he always makes, straightforward, just good plays, doesn't make too many flashy plays. This is a very flashy play from Che0nsu. So he's really stepping it up here as he's made it to this stage. And
wow, that is crazy.
I like it. He's taking a huge gamble here on, Cydonia's had really slow turns throughout the early and mid game. I think there's Brawl in his hand. I'm gonna play around Brawl by not removing the Rag. That's a really next level read and a really next level play.
I mean, just look at the difference. No Ragnaros, Brawl instantly. With the Ragnaros on board, can he afford to Brawl and give away his Ragnaros sometimes?
Yeah.
Crazy. And Cydonia, look at the play he's having to go for. He's forced into this position where he's gonna have to try to have Ragnaros hit this Draconid Crusher. If this fails, Che0nsu needs 6 damage to end the game if this Ragnaros doesn't hit. And it doesn't.
Wow.
What a play from Che0nsu to deter Cydonia from the Brawl and have a follow-up like this.
Yeah, Che0nsu has really swung this game around. It looked like he was kind of struggling there for a minute. It looked like Cydonia was going to be able to Brawl his extension, then Brawl his next extension and kind of stabilize with the armor up. But that's not the case here. He's changed it into a Rag Flip instead and is going to be able to get through 9 damage because of it.
1 damage away for Che0nsu, but this is where it can get really tricky too. If he forces too much but not enough, Cydonia can have armor stabilization, Ironforge Portal, shield block.
Sure.
Those things can add up and keep him out of reach of Che0nsu's hand. Now the execute has to come down. He needs to try to protect his board position a little bit. He will be making a big push in the next few turns. From here on out, it's Che0nsu, I think, is full steam ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. Needs to kind of close out this game rather quickly now. Now he knows the Brawl is going to be getting very large amounts of value on the board.
And there's another Ironforge Portal. Cydonia, if this Brawl goes favorably, he could be in a very good spot. Now, the kicker to that is if any of Che0nsu's minions live, he's going to have to consider what it's like with what minion it is. Like, say it's Draconid Crusher.
If it's Draconid Crusher,
it's got a Tink Master.
It's got a Tink Master, and that means he's not playing Ironforge Portal, which means if it's a 5/5, he loses the game. So it's still, Cydonia's not out of the woods yet. He gets good Brawl value here, but being at 2 life is very costly, and having to force 5 mana into the Brawl is also very costly.
2 Ravaging Ghouls for Cydonia that could live through this. Neither one will, and
3/4.
3/4, so now Cydonia, this will be Ironforge Portal to try to stabilize through this health total, but he's got some heat on him. He knows that there are multiple cards in Che0nsu's deck that will kill Cydonia right now. Fiery War Axe, another Kor'kron Elite, Blackwing Corruptor. There are so many things that actually end the game here for Che0nsu. Cydonia, he's got to be sweating.
Azure Drake can draw into them. It can't draw into the Blackwing Corruptor though, and it can't draw into
Grom, Hellscream at this point, wandering out. Kor'kron Elite.
Alex Straz's champion would be a whiff, but so close, not able to get there. That's going to give Cydonia the time to hero power and play the second Ironforge Portal. He could be reaching stabilization. He's right on the edge.
I mean, if this game slips away from him, honestly, I'm surprised it was even this close. It looked like Che0nsu was just going to fall out of the game, and the fact that he's got to this position, I think, is remarkable.
His play set him up to get that 9 extra damage in. I didn't think that 9 damage was ever going to connect.
Did not either. Yeah, but now with the ragtag crew of cards left in Che0nsu's hand, going to try to piece together an assault here, but I think you're right. Cydonia is very close to stabilizing.
Close, but not there yet. There's most likely going to have to be that same situation that just happened. If that Ezra Drake lives, Cydonia is in a heap of trouble.
Execute, no help.
He's going to have to brawl again.
Wow.
There's a guaranteed 2 damage coming in from Che0nsu's side.
And a much weaker brawl on that.
He's starting to run Che0nsu out of cards, though. Che0nsu is going to be only on 3 cards when it goes back to his turn, but...
Ironforge Portal. There's a few Ironforge Portal drops that are really strong here, too.
Arctic Armor would have been sick.
Yeah. The animated armor, the mage card. Tournament Medic. Would have been really solid here as well. Anything that just further stabilizes him.
Any taunt.
And once again, Che0nsu, there are some cards in the deck that won him the game this turn.
Not quite able to get there just yet, but he has, you know, that one final push. He knows both brawls have been used. He could extend every minion in his hand onto the board now. Pretty carefree. He knows that there's the potential of revenge, but revenge most likely would have been used last turn instead of the brawl.
Yep, unless there was just absolutely no way to stick past that Azure Drake with just 4 extra armor and the hero power. I think there was, and even going to put the extra damage on board with the Frothing Berserker. Says Cydonia, you have to answer this, and Bash gets picked up for Cydonia.
He's going to stabilize.
Che0nsu is out of cards right now. Now, there are still some draws in Che0nsu's deck that can pull him back in this.
He's going to need one of those big finishers. He's going to need the Ragnaros or the Grom. Grom, 10 damage off the top because he has the mage hero power. So it's not over for him yet. Cydonia is
just crazy.
So close to stabilizing, but he's just not there yet. And Cydonia really has to evaluate, can he afford to beat some of those big threats? Should he just use the execute now to further increase his stabilization?
That's exactly what he'll be doing.
I think he should. He's got the Tink Master, and if Rag comes out right now, he's pretty much just dead anyway. If Grom comes out right now, he's dead. So he can draw into an answer for that, but for now he needs to answer the immediate situation, start accumulating armor.
Yep, and we'll use Tink Master just as an offensive pressure at this point. I mean,
he's got a lot of damage.
Che0nsu is down to 14 at this point as well, so this is a 2-turn clock for Cydonia at this point. Che0nsu picks up a Fiery War Axe, and that will set a clock to Cydonia now.
For a turn, and yeah, that's a 2-turn clock.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna come down to a draw from Cydonia.
He needs armor gain.
He needs armor, or he needs a way to close. N'Zhot will give him
an
invested Tauren.
He's in it. There's still draws from Che0nsu to be able to close out this game, though. But that gives him the infested Tauren.
Cydonia doesn't have a play here. It has to be N'Zhot. It has to be attack. He has to hope to fade the draw from Che0nsu. Wow. This is just game 1, by the way. This is just game 1. And that won't do it.
That's a whiff.
Cydonia is going to pick up game number 1.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what, Cydonia has got his work cut out for him. He played